You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Hi, Harry.
The RTM will be convened on Wednesday, October 10th, 2018, at 8 p.m. at the Branford Fire Headquarters, 45 North Main Street, to consider and act upon the following matters. Will we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And we do have a flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get into item one, the roll call, I'd like to welcome our new members to the RTM, Kevin Healy. Kevin is going to be, we'll assign him to the Ways and Means Committee. Kevin, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. Welcome aboard. Okay, item one, roll call.
Okay, Representative Edelman.
Present.
Representative Alphone.
Here.
Representative Anderson.
Here.
Representative Black.
Here.
Representative Brockett.
Here.
Representative Comey. Here. Representative Conklin.
Here.
Representative Diadamo.
Here.
Representative Doknovich. Here. Representative Dunbar.
Here.
Representative Everlith here. Representative Flanagan here. Representative Gordon. Gordon here. Representative Hall. Here. Representative Healy.
Here.
Representative Henschel.
Here.
Representative Ingraham.
Here.
Representative Jackson.
Here.
Representative Kelly. Not here. Representative Lawler. Not here. Representative Leonard.
Here.
Representative Lombardi. Here. Representative Preet.
Here.
Representative Ricchio.
Here.
Representative Stepanek. Was he here? I thought I saw him.
China.
All right. Representative Sullivan.
Here.
Representative Torelli.
Present.
Representative Toohill.
Here.
And Representative Walker.
Here.
And Representative Wells.
Here.
All right. We have a quorum.
Okay.
3 missing, and for ex officios, we have for Selectman Cosgrove and Town Clerk Urban.
Okay, very good. Item two, approval of the minutes of the September 12th meeting. There's a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved without exception. Item three, reception of communications, reports of committees and citizens petitions. I have nothing. Do you have anything?
No, I don't have any.
All right, there isn't anything. Item number four, to consider and if appropriate, create an ordinance that enables tax exemptions for the Gold Star parents and spouses. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. R&O has been considering the Gold Star tax exemption for some time now. And on the 18th of September, the committee voted unanimously to approve the ordinance. This is a tax exemption that exempts $10,000 from property tax if the person filing exceeds the qualifying income limit, so it's income qualified. And the committee voted unanimously to approve the ordinance, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Any discussion on the motion to approve? Representative Brockett?
Yeah, Mr. Moderator, thank you. Yes, Chairman Leonard, is this the same income qualifying benefit that veterans receive under our code?
Yes, Representative Brock. We made an effort to match make the benefits consistent across our code.
Thank you. So as I read the code and the statute that underlies this, the qualifying income for a single person is $26,500 So if you make $26,501, then you don't qualify for this benefit, is that correct?
That is the case. It's 12,500 above the 12-81 income limits.
Right, and the 12-81L income limits are $14,000 for a single individual, bringing the total to $26,500.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on this item? Representative Ingraham?
I'd like to, we haven't voted yet, but talking to many of you, I'd like to thank you for your yes vote on this item. It's been near and dear to my heart. As a vet that didn't do any wartime, but has a daughter, son-in-law that spent, 6 tours between them in Iraq and Afghanistan. And knowing that we don't get them all back when they go. And I don't mean, I'm talking about the kid you have in front of you. We're lucky. We have a piece of them back. There's a small number of parents, it's not small in the grand scheme, but within the town, that have lost kids. And, one of the families that this involves, that came to us, lost their daughter in Iraq about 9 years ago. So I thank you in advance. I'm not trying to force a vote there, but seeing that I've talked to enough of you, I'd rather say it right now.
Any further discussion on this item? Representative Black?
Yeah, just through you, Mr. Moderator, to Representative Leonard. Is it $10,000 worth of property or that's exempt from taxation, or is it a $10,000 worth of the tax bill? I thought I'd read it as $10,000 worth of property.
It's a $10,000 exemption of property.
Okay. So it's really as represent, a very small amount that's not going to have any likelihood, but that's what the state statute allows us to do at this point. Thank you.
It is a small amount, Representative Black.
I mean, believe me, I know, and I think you understand that I know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries and is passed. Item 5, to consider and if appropriate, create an ordinance for tax exemption for handicapped equipped vehicles. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. On the same evening, September 18th, R&O met again on the handicapped vehicle tax exemption ordinance, and after discussion, the committee voted unanimously to re-refer, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to re-refer this item. Any discussion on the re-referral? Hearing none, all those in favor signify. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is re-referred.
Turn the family off.
Item 6, to consider and if appropriate, approve the creation of an advisory committee regarding sustainability. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This item concerns a resolution creating an advisory committee on sustainability. Again, after discussion, the committee voted unanimously to approve the proposed resolution, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Representative Henschel.
Yes, I'd like to actually propose an amendment to this resolution, which we've discussed just in the last couple of hours. We did refer to this to the town attorney, Bill Anaskovich, and got a comment from him that he was uncomfortable with the fact that we were creating a committee, but we hadn't, in fact, given any definition to the committee, whether it was temporary or permanent, whether it, what the composition of the committee was, et cetera. And he found that problematic, given if we wanted to use our abilities as an RTM to create a committee. So I had proposed to him that we change the wording of, and I don't know whether people have the full resolution in front of them, but I'll read up just paragraph 5 of this resolution and tell you how I propose we amend it to get beyond that. And by the way, after I've read it, I did make this proposal. He seemed to be very comfortable with the fact that this would solve his problem So if we do agree to it, I think we can go ahead then and vote on it in the amended form. So the paragraph 5, as we voted on it in committee, read, resolve that to focus attention and effort within the town of Branford on matters of sustainability, and in order to promote the town of Branford's local initiatives and actions towards sustainable CT municipal certification, the representative town meeting of the town of Branford establishes an advisory sustainability team. What I would propose we do is strike those last 5 words, which says establishes an advisory sustainability team, and in its place we state does hereby authorize the first selectman to establish an advisory sustainability team. So what this would do would basically give the first selectman the ability to establish that committee on his own and to set whatever parameters he would like on the committee to have it move forward. So I would propose that again as an amendment to
Okay.
this.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment, by Representative Henschel, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment carries. You have to vote as amendments. Representative
Mr.
Sullivan?
Moderator, I have a point of information, and just remind myself of it when Representative Henschel was speaking. We have Rule 9.5, which is referred to as Frank's Rule, which is any written document, including reports, opinions, maps, and letters to be relied upon in the full RTM vote must be distributed in written electronic form. I don't think that the members have this resolution, but I'd like to make a motion to waive Rule 9.5.
Second that.
Okay, so motion on the floor to waive rule, what was that rule number again?
9.5.
9.5. Is there a second? Representative Ingraham? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Let's waive the ruling on that. And the amendment passed also. And we should... No.
Waive that too, right?
No. we do too. All right, so this item passes as amended. We go to...
We still have to-
We need a vote on the, we need a vote on the motion to approve the resolution as amended, okay? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This item carries. Item 7, to review Branford's Town Dock Ordinance and appropriate revised relative to time limits and rights of appeal. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This item concerns, this is a review of the Branford Town Dock Ordinance. The committee has invited interested parties to its October meeting, and for now, we voted to re-refer unanimously. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to re-refer this item. Any discussion on the motion? Representative Wells?
Just a quick question, when is that committee meeting?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
All right. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of re-referring the item signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is re-referred. Item number 8, to consider, review, and propose changes to the Town of Branford noise ordinance. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a review of Branford's noise ordinance and how it pertains to dog barking in residential neighborhoods. After discussion, the committee voted unanimously to re-refer, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to re-refer this item. Any discussion on the re-referral? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One no vote. Who was that, Ricky? Okay, item is re-referred. Item 9, to consider if appropriate, approve a request from the Solid Waste Management Commission for the following budget transfer fiscal 2019 from material handling $24,500 to condo association rebates $24,500. Representative Conklin?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. As the Public Service Committee did not meet last month, I would first move that we waive Rule 441 so that we can vote on this evening.
Motion on the floor, is there a second? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to waive Rule 441 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, item passes. Go ahead.
Okay. See if memory can serve me well here. Again, it is a transfer within the current fiscal year, and it is to increase the condo association rebate, and that is based on a rebate required based on a calculation of what is being charged to the town of Branford. And they believe that they have money within material handling to cover that charge, so it's inside their budget, and we're required to have that rebate, so before that account goes negative, they would like the $24,500 transferred to that. And I move that we approve the transfer of $24,500.
All right, is there a second on that? Was there a second? Yeah?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Representative Sullivan?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, do you know the reason for this? Is there something that changed in the calculation for the condo associations? I used to be the president of an association. I know that the refund from the town was always less than we paid for our contractors for trash removal, and so I'm wondering, is this money that's getting added to the account going to benefit the associations? Or what was the reason for the shortfall?
The shortfall was caused by an increase in the cost to waste management.
For the town fees?
For the town piece.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the transfer signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, transfer carries. Item 10, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Finance Department for the following budget transfer for fiscal 2018 from contingency $12,000 to legal services $12,000. Representative Black?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, I'm going to ask that we waive Rule 441 that we did not meet this past month. So,
Second.
Motion on the floor has been seconded to waive Rule 441. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rule is waived. Continue, Representative Black.
that sort of abbreviated meeting, we could say that was Josh Brooks's rule in a way that never got enacted. But the $12,000 here was a bill that was presented to the town late. It's to do with Parkside Condo Association and the Branford Housing Authority proposal from Brenner Saltzman. So that this $12,000 didn't make it into the prior transfer. So I'll move that we approve this transfer so that we can pay that bill. And
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfer carries.
Who made the second?
Mr. Representative Walker, I believe? Yeah, Walker had it up.
Couple people.
Representative, okay, item 11, to consider and if appropriate, approve request from the town clerk for the following budget transfers. Fiscal 2018, from advertising, printing, and binding, $912, to membership, conference, and meetings, $912, and for fiscal 2019, from professional development, $250, to education incentive, $250. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Admin services also didn't meet this month due to some scheduling conflicts, so I'd like to make a motion to waive Town Rule 4.4.1.
Is there a second? Okay, motion to waive Rule 441 has been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rule is waived. Okay, continue.
Thank you. This transfer within the town clerk budget is a two-part transfer. The first one from 2018 is to cover the cost of 2 additional conferences attended by the town clerk. And the second part of it is for a town hall employee who is able to sit for an exam sooner than anticipated. So the educational incentive was not budgeted for fiscal year 19. This is just to put the money, it's a line item transfer from the town clerk budget. I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Put that forward.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfers are carried. Item 12, to consider and if appropriate, approve a revocable license agreement for the use of the town right-of-way located at 9 Autumn Ridge Road. Representative Alphone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, admin services did not meet in October, so I'd like to make a motion to waive Town Rule 4.4.1.
Second.
Motion on the floor to waive Rule 441. Is there any discussion on the waiving the rule? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Rule is waived. Continue,
Thank you.
Representative Wong.
Actually, to present this item, our new town engineer, John, I apologize if I say this wrong, but Hoferl? Did I get it right? Somewhat right?
Let him introduce
I apologize. Is here to present the item so that we can get some background info on this.
One on the, would you sit down? It could be, or
Should be right, yeah.
should be.
So, John Heffley, Town Engineer.
I apologize.
That's fine. I had to make you squirm a little. Heffley. So before you is a revocable license agreement for 9 Autumn Ridge Road. It's within a subdivision up on Brushy Plain Road, just north of Parish Farm. If you don't know where that is. Essentially, we've been, the building department was presented with a building application for a new home. I believe it's the only remaining lot within that subdivision that hasn't been built upon. There are 2 right-of-ways that the town has that spur off of this roadway. This one in particular feeds into the back of Veterans Memorial Park. The other, well, between his neighbor, the one that's already built, has a driveway within this right-of-way. The other right-of-way spur has 2 driveways within it, so he came to us with the proposal to put the driveway within this town right-of-way. And as part of that proposal, we had the town attorney, their office, draw up this revocable license agreement between the town and the owner of 9 Autumn Ridge, which essentially gives the town the right, within 60 days' notice, to require them to vacate that portion of the right-of-way if the town ever needed to use that right-of-way for access.
Any questions for the town engineer?
Mr. Moderator.
Representative Sullivan?
Through you, just a quick question. Looking at the town GIS parcel map, and also you mentioned number 7 Autumn Ridge Road, do they have a similar agreement with the town as their driveway's also in the easement?
No, so this is part of why we wanted to get this agreement going, is that the other 3 driveways that are existing within the town right-of-ways, those were never caught when they were built. This is the early 2000s when the rest of these houses have gone up. So, so seeing where they were proposing their driveway, we wanted to make sure that we had this in place for this last house.
So may I ask a follow-up? So is there a way to retroactively do anything on those parcels or no?
We have to refer back to the town attorney and see if there's anything we could do.
Thank you.
At this point, I'm not sure if we need the access, but it would be something we can ask the town attorney.
All right, thank you.
Representative Henschel?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, are there any restrictions that are put on the use of that? It can be obviously paved for the driveway itself, but landscaping, stone walls, other things that might have to be taken out if the town took it back?
Yeah, within the agreement, they're not allowed to put up any permanent structures. And also within the agreement, it gives, the town has the right to require them to vacate at their cost. So essentially, if the town were requiring them to vacate the right-of-way under this agreement after the 60 days notice, you'd essentially be saying that, the town is going to be building the infrastructure, the roadway, as access to the property in the back. the property owner would be required for any of the improvements needed to hook their driveway back up to our roadway. So the town wouldn't be on the hook for any of the costs for that as part of this agreement.
And one last question. Do you know whether those two residences were built with the proper setbacks as if they were corner lots in the future?
That, I couldn't answer that question. I do know that this particular residence, the building application went through the planning and zoning review, so whatever their requirements would be for setbacks would have been met.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Ricchio?
Yes. Have,
Representative Ricchio, want to stand up?
have the other, what impact does it have on the other neighbors? And have the neighbors been, I'm sure they've been advised of this? This is my neighborhood, so I'm
Right.
curious.
So to give you a little context in this neighborhood, they're all, we call like the side load garage, where you don't have the garage facing the roadway. The driveway's facing the side of the house. So in that respect, it's keeping in nature with the rest of the neighborhood. The neighbors directly next to them that also abut that right-of-way, their driveway already exists within that right-of-way, so they're already occupying that at that point. So they weren't notified of this.
They were
No,
or not?
they were not notified. There's no requirement to notify the neighbors of what the building application came in or this agreement.
Don't you think we should notify them? So that it doesn't cause maybe a potential problem down the road? And be proactive?
I don't personally...
If I was a neighbor, I would want to know.
Right. Personally, I don't see the need for it, but that would be up to you guys if you wanted to...
Well, it would be up to maybe the property owner that is going to do this. I mean, you know, all of a sudden, to slap in this right away, I mean, I just think, you know, we could potentially open up maybe a can of worms here.
Oh, yeah, the right-of-way is existing, to clear that. There's already a town right-of-way there.
Yeah.
So the neighbor that's there at 7 Autumn Ridge, their driveway is already within our right-of-way, without our approvals necessarily. So 9 is essentially asking to do what they've already done, but the town in this case is making sure that we have an agreement in place that protects our assets, you know, and our ability to access the property in the rear.
But typically what will happen is the town will get blamed. That's what usually happens if it's not done. You know, I'm just trying to be proactive here. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. I mean, so I just leave it at that. So.
Representative Black, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just have some more questions, but... Through you, Mr. Moderator, to the engineer, I'm just looking at the paper map that we were distributed. I didn't look at this GIS, so gathered number 9 is lot number 27.
That's correct.
Okay, and then lot number 28 is number 7.
Correct.
And you're saying that there's already a 15-foot driveway going in to access address number 7, lot number 28?
That's correct.
Okay, and then, so our total right-of-way is 40 feet wide, and we're going to have 15-foot driveways with a 10-foot buffer between those two driveways?
I believe it's a 50-foot right-of-way. They're not showing some
Oh, okay.
setback within there, but that's what they've proposed, yes.
Okay. And has this actually been surveyed as to where the existing driveway is from number 7? Do you know?
That I do not know, because we wouldn't have required them to survey their neighbor's driveway.
Yeah.
We were looking at more of a conceptual and how things were going to kind of look within that right-of-way.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. You know, it looks too pretty in a way, but, which is a little bit of what
It's not quite as straightforward.
Representative Ricchio was saying, is if the number 7 is, you know, not really put his driveway where it should be, and it's more over toward number 9 or something, but it's not necessarily our problem. Thank you.
Representative Walker?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Personally, I don't see any real issue here, any reason to hold this up, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve it as proposed.
Is there a second on that? Second. All right, discussions, Representative Henschel?
Yes, I do think I actually agree with Representative Ricchio that I feel that the town really should be notifying the adjacent property owner that their driveway is in the right-of-way, and they would be subject to the rights of the town in the future. To me, that makes sense, that if those things are in existence, that the property owner ought to be notified of the town's rights, so that it doesn't end up being an issue 50 years from now when somebody looks back and, you know, determines that in fact is the case, and it was never actually brought to the owner's attention, and if I'm correct here.
Any further discussion on this item?
Mr. Moderator,
Representative
just
Sullivan?
have two more questions, actually. The first one, and these are through you to the town engineer. One would be, do you know of any plans of the town actually putting a road through this right-of-way in the near future? And then the second question is a hypothetical. What if we say no?
So there are no plans at this point. Again, that's the back side of Veterans Memorial Park. I believe that access was set up for the sole reason that there's some big elevation changes between the front of the property where the parks are and this back half of the property, where if you did need any kind of maintenance access or anything like that, it would be kind of prohibitive through the park. So, you know, we're allowing ourselves the ability down the line, if we foresee that being an issue, to have the right-of-way going up that way. I don't know of any plans to extend that out. I don't know of any development plans. The terrain is pretty severe back there, so if anything, it would be more of a maintenance or emergency access or something like that.
Thanks. And what if we say no?
You don't sign it, first selectman doesn't sign it, and then, you know, the homeowner is kind of back to square one.
Basically, they'd have to put their driveway out of the front of the house to the road.
Right, and again, in keeping with the nature, we thought this was a good compromise.
Thank you.
Any other further discussion on this item for motion to approve? If not, all those in favor of this item to approve signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. One no vote. Representative Ricchio? Item carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13, any other business to come before the RTM? Representative Henschel.
Yes, again, I'd just like to let every member of the RTM know that the Plan of Conservation and Development has now been finalized. The draft created by the steering committee has been finalized, and it is being sent to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which ultimately has the responsibility for enacting it if they and amending it if they wish to amend the draft. So there will be upcoming meetings, and that is online. It's available online if you want to take a look at it. I would suggest that there are probably a lot of crossovers in intent and things in the Plan of Conservation and Development that relate to our Sustainable Connecticut initiative that the town is now undertaking. So becoming familiar with it and some of the more major elements in it, I think, would be a good idea for us all.
Yeah. Town Clerk Arpin.
I'm Lisa Arpin, Town Clerk. I just have a small PSA announcement for relative to people that are going to be away during Election Day. that absentee ballots are now available in the town clerk's office. We get many, many questions about who's eligible, who's not eligible. So if you're going to be away on election day, if you're ill or disabled and not able to get to the polls on election day, you are eligible to vote by absentee ballot. And as long as our office receives the ballot by 8 p.m. on election night, November 6th, your vote will be counted. I do want to point out that the biggest misnomer is that if people think that if their their absentee ballot is postmarked by election day, that it still gets counted, but it doesn't. So it must be received in our office by 8 p.m. on election night. So any questions, or if anybody needs an absentee ballot, please call the town clerk's office or come into the town clerk's office. One last caveat is we are unable to hand a ballot to someone else. So if a spouse comes in and their spouse is disabled, we can't hand their spouse's ballot to them. We would have to put it in the mail. We also actually have curbside voting by absentee ballot for those who are not able to get out of the car, and that's something that many towns don't offer. So we do offer that. Bring a photo ID. Thank you.
Lisa, when is the
Yes.
last day to register?
The last day to register to vote technically is election day. So unlike the primaries where we don't have election day registration, for this election, we do have same-day registration and same-day voting in the basement of Town Hall. Same hours, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
So just least, somebody would have to go to town hall to register on election day. For election, they can't go to what would normally be their voting place. But
Correct.
so to vote in their neighborhood, what would be the last day that they'd be coming into town hall, I guess, to register, or mailing things in?
I believe it's Monday by noon. Okay?
Maybe October, the end of the month?
Monday, the day before Election Day.
The day before. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No?
It's important stuff. We're really busy. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is to remind everyone that November 11th, we have a parade in town, our Veterans Parade. The ceremony starts on the green at 1 p.m. We do have a section. I'm on the parade committee, but we do have a whole section for elected officials. I think it'd be kind of nice that we didn't only have the selectmen there. People need to see us. It's after the election, so we won't get in trouble for anything. So let's try to make an effort as an RTM to go. There's a few of us that are within units, but if there's a good contingent, I'll step out of my unit and walk with this unit.
What time is it?
It's at 1 p.m. The parade starts at 1:30. You get a nice lap around through to Richlands. You turn to Richlands, you go around the back Bradley. And we know all these streets now. And we loop around, stop at the Elm for a few minutes, and then
I'll tell you about that.
it starts on Main Street at the card shop. Or, I'm sorry.
No.
We all know the old card.
Starts
Now I'm
at
sounding like the
It
long
starts
time.
at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. There'll be a podium there for about a half hour of ceremonies. Great stuff. We have fife and drum, Eastern, St. Mary's School had their fife and drum or dynamite. We have a bunch of the schools there. They all do something, and there's some good speeches. Nothing long, nothing hard to endure, but it'll be a good salute. It's the parade in town that we have we know the weather and all, but this one is the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day, and it happens to be, we're falling right on the day to have the parade on that Sunday, so it's kind of special. Thank you.
Just also to point out, Representative Ingham, the parade starts the Veterans Day parade starts on the back end of the town hall, and then proceeds up Main Street and comes around to the front.
Yeah. We changed that last year. It's on the front.
But the elected officials now that Ray mentioned
We'll point you in the right direction.
will have to march in the second section. They are not allowed to participate in the first section. The first section is strictly for veterans. And as Ray mentioned also that there was some discussion also that there was of doing away with the Veterans Day Parade in November. We're one of the few towns that still do a parade. Most other towns just do a simple ceremony on the green. So we encourage the people to turn out because traditionally not too many people show up in November, and you know we put a lot of work and effort into that. So please be there. All right. Any other business to come before the RTM? If not, Representative Torelli.
I'd like to make motion to adjourn?
Yeah, is there a second? Representative Dunbar, okay.
You weren't even taking a
Everybody,
chance.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.